From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, May the 9th, 2018. We opened with reaction to the announcement made yesterday by President Donald Trump that the U.S. will withdraw from the Iran deal. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu embraced the U.S. decision. He spoke last night on live television in Israel, saying that Israel fully supports President Trump's bold decision today to reject the disastrous nuclear deal with the terrorist regime in Tehran. Jewish organizations also weighed in on the decision. The Simon Wiesenthal Center commended Trump, saying that leaving the status quo with Iran awash with billions of U.S. taxpayers' cash would only ensure a growing circle of violence and terrorism in the region and ultimately could help pave the way for a nuclear arsenal that could reach our shores. B'nai B'rith International said they were encouraged that the president recognized the deal's many weaknesses. They said, "We urge our European partners to join the United States in pressuring Iran to curb its nuclear activity." CEO of the American Jewish Committee, David Harris, said that while the AJC had many reservations about the original Iran deal, they had, quote, hoped to see the deal fixed, not nixed, at this stage of the game. Harris said the last thing anyone should want is a wedge driven between the U.S. and our European partners, as Iran would inevitably become an unintended beneficiary. Meanwhile, Israel's military is in a high state of alert in the country's north on its border with Syria, prepared for retaliation from Iran after the U.S. announcement. Residents in the Golan Heights were alerted and bomb shelters were opened last night. IDF spokesman Jonathan Conricus wrote on social media yesterday that the IDF has detected irregular Iranian activity in Syria and is preparing the civilian population on the Golan Heights accordingly, as well as defensive systems. Last night, an Iranian military base in Syria was the target of airstrikes blamed on Israel, though the IDF has not responded to those allegations. But there are reports that the missiles that were hit in those airstrikes were aimed at Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu flew to Moscow today and met with Russian President Vladimir Putin at the Kremlin. He later attended the World War II Victory Day parade, marking the victory over Nazi Germany. Netanyahu said he was moved to hear Israel's national anthem Hatikva at Red Square and said, "We in Israel don't forget for a moment the tremendous sacrifice by the Russian people and the sacrifice of the Red Army in defeating the Nazi monster." An Israeli border police woman was lightly injured today in the West Bank. A pipe bomb was thrown at a border police base and riots broke out, with several Palestinians throwing stones at the officers, one of which hit the female officer. 2 Palestinians were arrested and the officer received medical attention at the scene and then was taken to Hadassah Medical Center in Jerusalem's Ein Kerem for further treatment. Police in Queens are investigating an attack this weekend on a 14-year-old Jewish boy in Kew Gardens. The Forest Hills Post reports that the boy was punched outside of Yeshivat Sha'ar HaTorah Grodno Sunday night while walking home when he was approached by a man who also cursed at him, calling him Jew boy. The boy received medical attention at the scene, and the NYPD's Hate Crimes Task Force was looking into the assault as a bias incident. Students at a Boston area high school are accused of hateful graffiti at their school last week. 14 male students at Arlington High School were said to have broken into the school, perhaps as part of a senior prank, and spray-painted swastikas and anti-gay slurs on the walls of the school and also vandalized property. The school district and police department are said to be consulting with the Arlington Human Rights Commission, as well as the Anti-Defamation League and the Arlington LGBTQIA and Rainbow Commission to find the best possible response to the incident. Well, Israel passed the first semifinal of the Eurovision 2018. Israeli singer Netta Barzilai made last night's cut in the international singing competition taking place this year in Lisbon, Portugal. Barzilai, who was said to be an early favorite with her unique and quirky style and performance, was also targeted by BDS, boycott, divestment, and sanctions activists who called on European voters not to vote for Israel. But despite those efforts, Israel qualified for the second semifinal, which takes place tomorrow night, which will determine whether Barzilai makes it to the Eurovision final Saturday night. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, May the 9th at 7 o'clock, remarks from Justice Minister Ayelet Shaked. At 7:30, more of our programming looking back at the Oslo Accords 25 years later with Gilad Sher, who talks about his personal experiences as a negotiator between Israelis and Palestinians and how the two-state solution is still possible. Then at 9, Mark Golub sits down with the Israeli architect of the Oslo Accords, Yossi Beilin, on L'chaim. And at 10:30 tonight, Aaron Davidman talks about Wrestling Jerusalem, the film adaptation of his one-man stage performance in which he plays both Israelis and Palestinians seeking answers to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. That's with Judy Gelman-Myers on New Jewish Cinema. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, it's Thinking Out Loud with Micah Halpern. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, May the 9th, 2018. I'm Teisha Bader.